Class, good morning. Our topic is chapter 12 about decision analysis. So actually, this is our last chapter, or last topic in our subject management science. Okay, so the decision analysis, as per a definition, it is a formalized approach to making optimal choices under conditions of uncertainty. Okay, so pag sinabi natin class na formalized approach, may mga methods or model tayong gagamitin dito sa decision analysis na kung saan gagamitin natin sa pagkandak ng analysis. Okay, so para sinabi dito to making optimal choices, so para mapili natin yung tinatawag nating best choice, kumbaga so gagamitan natin ng decision analysis na tinatawag. And dito sa decision analysis, unlike dun sa mga previous chapter na napag-aralan natin, dito kasi is involves ang uncertainty. So unlike yung mga previous chapter, kumbaga like for example in linear programming, so doon kasi is may certainty yung mga amount or figure sa pag-predict natin, So for example, based on experience, based on past experience, then magpe-predict tayo ng na for example ang mabibenta natin na units is 200 units. So 200 units yung fixed na or yung yun yung kumbaga exact amount na nagagamitin na naman natin para sa next prediction na naman. Okay? So may certainty kasi doon. So under decision analysis, yung topic natin ngayon is involves ang uncertainty. Okay? So may mga considerations na dapat nating i-consider or mga components ng decision analysis, like for example dito sa first bullet point, for evaluating and choosing among alternatives. Okay? So sa decision analysis class, dapat may alternatives. So ba't ka gagawa ng decision analysis na process kung wala namang alternatives, kung isa lang naman? Okay? So normally sa decision analysis, syempre 2 or more alternatives yan. Okay? Second bullet point is considers all the possible alternatives and possible outcomes. Okay? So sa bawat isang alternatives or as bawat isang alternative, I should say, may may mga possible outcomes yan. For example, kung what if boom ang economy, what if nasa middle yung economy lang or hindi gaano, or poor yung economy. Okay? So yan yung mga possible outcomes na i-consider natin sa bawat isang alternative kasi napaka-complex itong decision analysis. Okay? And third is the state of nature. So sa state of nature, that is the actual events that may occur in the future. For example, sana yan kung ang product mo nga is magbebenta ka ng jacket, for example, yung actual events or state of nature na dapat natin consider is ano ba ang future or yung ano ba yung mga following month, either taglamig ba o tag-init. So yan yung mga dapat natin consider, that is the state of nature. Okay? Next, may 5 steps in decision making. Number 1, clearly define the problem. So class, very important ito, dapat i-define mo muna yung problem or yung main issue. Okay? Ano ba talaga, saan ba, paano ba yan, kung saan mag-a-arise yung mga gagawin nating proseso, dapat alam natin ano ba yung main problem, ano ba yung main issue. Okay? And number 2, list all possible alternatives. So sa main problem or sa main issue, so bawat isa dyan, meron na tayong mga alternatives. So alternative 1, alternative 2, alternative 3, and so on. Okay? And of course, sa bawat alternatives, number 3, identify all possible outcomes for each alternative. So for example, alternative 1, ano yung mga possible outcome? What if boom ang economy? What if nasa middle lang? Or what if poor ang economy? So yun yung mga possible outcomes in every alternative. Okay? So next, number 4, identify the payoff for each alternative and outcome combination. So actually itong payoff class is yan yung parang consequence ng bawat decision or bawat alternative na mapipili natin. Okay? Sa payoff, magpapakita tayo mamaya ng payoff table. Paano ba gumawa ng payoff table? So actually, payoff table is parang summary yan or parang proseso yan para ma-organize natin yung isang decision analysis para mas madali natin makita. Okay? Kung paano ba yung main problem, ano ba yung alternative, ano yung mga possible outcomes niya. Okay? Next, number 5 is use a decision modeling technique to choose an alternative. So the word modeling technique, yun na nga yung sinabi ko kanina, may mga models or decision analysis model or method na gagamitin or mga i-apply natin mamaya. So medyo madami yun, ano? Although madali lang naman. Okay? Next, example, si Thomson Lumber Company. So number 1, dapat titignan muna natin ano yung decision, ano ba yung main issue, ano ba yung main problem. So main issue dito is dun sa number 1 is whether or not to make and sell storage sheds. So yan yung gagawa natin, no? Kasi yan yung decision, yan yung main problem or main issue. So sa main issue na yan, number 2, dapat may mga alternatives. For example, alternative 1, mag-build siya ng large plant o malaking planta. And then second is mag-build daw ba siya ng small plant. And third, do nothing. Wala na lang, hindi na lang ako magbi-build. So for example, yun yung third alternative ni Thomson Lumber Company. Then number 3, dapat alam natin to, outcomes, ano? Sa outcomes, sa bawat alternative may mga possible outcome yan. Okay? So demand for sheds will be high, okay? Pwede yun, moderate or low. So possible yan na, for example, alternative 1, maybe ang demand is high, moderate, or low. Okay? So next, ito na, yung payoff na kanina na binabanggit na natin, ito yung example ng payoff table. Okay? So di ba ang problem, naka-paragraph, ang gawa ka ng payoff table. So ito yung gagawin natin actually para ma-organize nga yung isang decision analysis. Ano? Kaya gumagawa tayo ng payoff table. So sa payoff table class, ganito yung maging itsura. O, di ba? Mas madali makita, ano? Mas madaling makagawa ng decision sa pamamagitan ng payoff table. For example, yung alternatives, ilatag mo yan, large plant, small plant, no plant. Okay? Sa bawat outcomes, may tatlo, pwedeng high, moderate, or low demand. Okay? Sa bawat outcome, ito yung magiging result niya. Okay? Sa high, pag large plant, 200,000 daw, magiging profit. Okay, small plant, 90,000 maging profit natin, and no plant, of course, 0. Okay, sa moderate naman, pag moderate yung demand, 100,000 in large plant, 50,000 small plant, 0 in no plant. And kapag pangit yung demand or low yung demand, ano, bagsak yung demand ng product nila, is negative 120. Makaka-incur tayo ng loss kapag low demand. Small plant naman, negative 20,000 naman. Okay? And no plant, of course, 0. So, ganyan lang ang payoff table. Ano? So, parang summary yan or para ma-organize yung isang decision analysis na ikakandak natin. Okay? Next, number 5. Apply a decision modeling method. Okay? So, ano yung mga modeling method na gagamitin natin? Okay? Ano yung i-apply natin? So, mamaya, i-discuss natin yan. Okay, next. Ito na. Sa types of decision modeling environment. So, sa type 1 class, yan yung mga napag-aralan natin, ano, mga previous chapters, like for example, best example yung linear programming na kung saan decision making under certainty. Okay, may certain amount or certain figure, ano, na kumbaga gagawin natin para ma-predict natin yung future. Okay? And under type 2 class is decision making under uncertainty. Ito na yung talagang topic natin ngayon. Sa decision making or decision analysis kasi class, ito yun, involve uncertainty. Uncertain as to amount, as to time, or kung ano pa man. So this is under type 2 decision making. And of course, type 3 decision making under risk or probabilities. So yan yung mga mapapag-aralan natin ngayon, no? So risk or probabilities. Next, decision making under certainty. So ito yung mga characteristic ng decision making under certainty. Ito yung mga previous chapters na napag-aralan natin. First is the consequence of every alternative is known. O yan kasi yung natin, known, yung consequence ng bawat alternative. So mas madali gumawa ng decision doon. Mas madali mag-predict kasi known naman yung consequence ng bawat alternative. So ibang-iba ngayon dito sa uncertainty. Next, usually there is only one outcome for each alternative. So yan yung isang characteristic ng decision making under certainty. So isang outcome lang naman sa bawat isang alternative. So mas madali mag-decide. Okay? And of course, sa third, ito na nga lang kasi this is seldom occurs in reality. Bihira mangyari yan, class. So for example sana, prediction natin for the next month na benta, for example, is 200,000 units or 200,000. units, for example lang, hindi mo naman sure kung 200,000. Pwedeng mas mataas yan, 300,000, or mas mababa, 100,000. So, yan kasi yung realidad. Okay? So, therefore, itong decision making under certainty, seldom na mangyayari sa realidad. Okay? Next. Ito sa decision making under uncertainty, so ito yun. First, probabilities of the possible outcomes are not known. O yan ngayon ang medyo problema natin sa decision analysis, no? Yung mga possible outcomes is not known. Okay? And ito na yung mga decision making methods or mga decision making model na i-apply natin. Lahat yan mapapag-aralan natin ngayon, class. Yung maximax, maximin, criterion of realism, or yung kilala natin na Hurwitz criterion dun sa module na naibigay ko sa inyo. And number 4, equally likely or equal likelihood. Ang andun naman sa module under chapter 12 na naibigay ko sa inyo. And number 5, minimax regret. Okay? So, ganito yan. Sa number 1 class, bakit tinawag na maximax yan? No? Ang maximax na term, itong decision model na to, na maximax na term, is na-derive ito sa term na maximum of the maximum. So, ibig sabihin, ang decision maker dito class is optimistic or napaka-aggressive niya. Okay? Kumbaga, yung positive thinker na kung saan ang prediction niya sa future is, kung for example, boom ang economy, okay ang economy. So, kung ano yung mga pinakamalaking payoff doon is yun ang pipiliin niya. Kasi nga, maximum of the maximum ang nito. Okay? So, napaka-optimistic niya, napaka-positive thinker ang dito, ang decision maker dito sa maximax na to. Okay? Next, sa number 2 class, itong maximin, na-derive yan sa word na maximum of the minimum. Okay? So, kaya maximin, maximum of the minimum. Exact opposite ng maximin, si maximax. Kasi si maximin class is ang decision maker dyan is parang pessimistic. Unlike kay maximax, optimistic. Ito naman pessimistic. Kumbaga sa tao sana class is may pagka-nega or negative itong si maximin. Kasi titignan niya yung best payoff pero dun sa pinakapur ang economy or bagsak ang economy. Kumbaga conservative ang decision maker kay maximin. Okay? Next, number 3, criterion of realism or yung tinatawag nating Hurwitz criterion. Itong si criterion of realism class is parang parang hybrid ng maximax at si maximin. Kumbaga sinolusyonan niya yung si maximax and at the same time si maximin, in between siya ngayon. Okay? So mamaya may tinatawag tayong yung may rate na i-consider natin dito sa alpha rate dito sa may sa criterion of realism, at yun yung gagamitin natin mamaya sa computation under this model. Okay? So next, number 4 naman, pag equally likely or equal likelihood, lahat ng possible outcome is ini-equalize niya. Okay? Kino-consider niya as equally or equal. Okay? So, kung halimbawa sana, kung dalawang lang yan, dalawang outcome, 50%, 50%. Okay? Pag mas marami na, gagawin niya, i-average niya. Okay? That is number 4. Dito tayo sa number 5. Sa minimax regret, from the word minimax regret is, na-derive ito sa term na minimize the maximum regret. Okay? Paano mo i-minimize ang malaking pagsisisi mo? Okay, ito yun, minimax regret. So, how to minimize the maximum regret. So, minimize the maximum regret. So, the word regret, parang in layman's term, paano mo i-minimize yung malaking pagsisisi mo just in case na napili mo yung alternative na yun. Okay? So, next. Ito tayo, maximax criterion. So, ito yung pinakauna class, maximax criterion. Ang maximax criterion, ulitin lang natin, that is optimistic approach. Okay? Positive thinker ang decision maker dito. Okay? Aggressive. Masyadong positive ang prediction niya sa future. That is optimistic approach under maximax criterion. So, dito, assume the best payoff will occur for each alternative. Okay? Pag Maximax criterion class, tingin ka kaagad dito sa pinaka boom ang economy. So dito high ang outcome or high ang demand. So dito ka kaagad titingin. Okay? Kasi ito yung maximum. Dito naman sa pinaka okay yung demand or pinaka okay yung outcome, titignan mo na agad saan yung pinaka best payoff. So nakita mo si large plant ang may pinakamataas. Okay? So ito na agad ang pipiliin mo. So sabi dito, choose the large plant which is the best payoff. Okay? So ang pipiliin natin dyan is si large plant, 200,000. So that is maximum of the maximum criterion. Okay? Next, maximin. Si maximin, that is maximize the minimum criterion. Okay? Ulitin ko lang, this is the pessimistic approach or conservative approach. May pagkanega nga, sabi nga, ano. So, agad-agad, pag maximin criterion, titignan mo yung pinaka-low. Pinakamababa ang outcome. Okay? So, dito ka kaagad titingin. So, kung dito ka kaagad titingin, saan dyan ang best payoff? Okay? Of course, 0. Ito. Okay? Kasi kapag large plant ka class, negative 120. Napakalaki ng loss mo, ha? Negative 120,000. Pag small plant, negative 20,000. May loss ka pa rin. Pag no plant, wala, 0. Okay? So, ang best payoff, si 0. Kasi wala kang loss eh. Okay? So, choose no plant. Best payoff, 0. Ang pipiliin natin. So, si no plant, huwag na tayong magpatayo ng planta. That is maximin criterion. Okay? Okay, next. Criterion of realism. Si criterion of realism class or si Hurwitz's criterion, first, uses the coefficient of realism. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? Kailan ma-identify mong rate ng alpha sign dito. At yung alpha sign na yan, that is coefficient of realism or coefficient of optimism. At si decision maker, dapat malagyan niya ng figure ito. Okay? Kung sa problem sana class, given yan. Okay? So, kung given yan, coefficient of realism and optimism, no? To estimate the decision maker's optimism. Okay, next. Second bullet point. Compromise between the maximax and maximin. O, yan yung sinabi ko kanina class na ang criterion of realism or Hurwitz is parang hybrid ng maximax and maximin. Parang in between. So, therefore, the formula is, ito na. Yung alpha sign na yan or coefficient of realism na yan times the maximum payoff for alternative. Okay, so kung ano yung maximum payoff na kino-consider ni Maximax, i-multiply mo yung rate ni coefficient of realism. Okay, next. Dun sa minimum payoff naman na alternative na kino-consider ni Maximin is 1 minus dun sa rate. Ano? Kung ilan man ang rate niyan. Times the minimum payoff for alternative is equals to realism payoff for alternative. Okay na? So, ito, coefficient of realism times maximum payoff plus 1 minus the coefficient of realism times minimum payoff for alternative is equals to realism payoff for alternative. Okay? Next, ito na. Suppose coefficient of realism is equal to 0.45. So, therefore, 1 minus 0.45 0.55 na yung imumultiply mo sa dito sa may minimum payoff. Okay? Yung maximum payoff, 0.45. Yung minimum payoff, 0.55. Okay? So, ito na yan. Kapag Hurwitz or criterion of realism ang gagamitin natin, ito yung maging result. Ang realism payoff for the large plant is 24,000. Sa small plant, 29,500. No plant, 0. Okay? So, paano tayo naka-arrive sa 24,000? Balik tayo dito. Ito yun. Yung, large plant, itong 200,000, i-multiply mo ng 45%. Kasi yun yung coefficient of realism. Okay? And then, 1 minus 0.45 is equals to 0.55. I-multiply mo ng negative 120,000. So, yung 45% ni 200,000 minus, kasi negative to, 0.55 ni 120,000. Makukuha mo ngayon ang 24,000. Okay? Sa small plant naman class, ganun din ang process. Itong 90,000, i-multiply mo ng 0.45. Okay? Saka mo i-minus yung 0.55 ng 20,000 negative. Kasi i-minus mo kasi negative yan. Makukuha mo ngayon ang 29,500. Okay? Sa no plant, 0 naman lahat yun. 0. So, kung sino ang pinakamataas ng realism of payoff, yun ang pipiliin mo. So, sino ang pinakamataas? Si small plant, 29,500. Choose small plant. Okay? Next, equally likely criterion. Ito, madali lang to. Si equally likely criterion. Assume all outcomes equally likely and uses the average payoff. Okay? Ang gawin mo lang dyan, dito, kung dalawang alternative lang, gaya yung module na binigay ko sa inyo under chapter 12, kung dalawang alternative lang yan, times 0.5 times 0.5. Okay? So, dito naman, since tatlo, ang gawin mo lang dito, paano natin nakuha ang 60,000 under large plant? Ang gawin mo lang dyan, class, is, balik tayo dito 200,000 plus 100,000 minus 120,000 divided by 3. Okay? Dito naman, si small plant, 90,000 plus 50,000 minus 20,000 divided by 3. Makukuha natin ito. 60,000 for large plant, 40,000 for small plant, 0 for no plant. So, ang pinakamataas na average payoff is large plant. So, therefore, choose large plant. Okay? Next, minimax regret. Okay, ganito yan. Sa minimax regret class, how to minimize the maximum regret criterion. Okay? So, paano mo i-minimize yung malaking pagsisisi mo just in case mapili mo itong option na to. So, ganito yan. Regret or opportunity loss or opportunity cost. Yung pwedeng term na gamitin dito. Measures much better we could have done. So, therefore, the formula is regret is equal to best payoff minus actual payoff. Okay na? So, dito sa minimax regret, in every outcome, hanapin mong pinakamataas. Saka mo ibabangga bawat isa-isa dyan para makompute natin ang opportunity loss or regret. Next, sa moderate, ano ang pinakamataas? Ibabangga mo sa tatlong yan. Makompute mo ang regret. Sa low, anong pinakamataas? Of course, 0. Ibangga mo dyan, makuha natin ang regret values. Try natin Dito muna tayo sa high. 200,000 minus 200,000, no regret kay large plant. Okay? Next, 200,000 minus 90,000, 110,000 ang regret kay small plant. Okay? 200,000 minus 0, 200,000 ang regret. Okay? So, yan yung regret values natin. Next, sa moderate, 100,000 minus 100,000, 0. Okay? Next, 100,000 minus 50,000, ilan ang regret? 50,000. 100,000 doon minus 0, 100,000 ang regret. Okay? So, same dito 0 ang pinakamataas dito. 0 minus negative 120, 120,000 ang regret. Okay? 0 minus negative 20, 20,000 ang regret. So, ito na yung regret values natin. Okay? So, sa bawat alternative dito, class, hanapin natin ang maximum regret. O dito sa large plant, saan ang maximum regret dito? Dito sa low demand. So, 120,000. Okay? Dito sa small plant, saan ang maximum regret? Ito, sa high demand. 110,000. Lalagay mo yan. Dito sa no plant, saan ang maximum regret? Ito, 200,000. Pinakamataas. Yan ang maximum regret. Okay? Sa tatlong yan na alternative, saan dyan ang pinakamababa? Na maximum, saan yung pinakamababa na regret natin just in case mapili natin yung alternative? Yung 110,000 under small plant. Okay? So, we want to minimize the amount of regret we might experience, so choose small plant. Ito yung pipiliin natin. Kasi just in case mapili mo yan, yan yung may pinakamababa kang pagsisihan just in case. Okay? Next, decision making under risk or probabilities. So, madali lang to. Sa decision making under risk or probabilities, normally dito, meron tayong EMV or expected monetary value. karamihan, ang kinoconsider natin dito is yung amount or yung figure para makapag-decide tayo. For example, kung revenue yan class, kung ano yung pinakamataas, based on monetary value, yun ang pipiliin mo. Kung ano yung pinakamababa, kung cost naman yan, ano yung pinakamababa, yun ang pipiliin mo based on monetary value. Okay? So, more on figure or more on monetary amount or monetary value ang kinoconsider natin dito under decision making under risk or probabilities. Okay? So, sabi dito, where probabilities of outcomes are available. So, EMV or expected monetary value uses the probabilities to calculate the average payoff for its alternative. Okay? So, magko-compute tayo ng EMV dito. So, therefore, the formula is EMV for alternative. So, summation of probability of outcome times payoff of outcome. So, yan lang, kasimple ang formula. Okay, example, expected monetary value or EMV method. Anong gagawin natin? Ito yung probability of outcome natin. So, for example, in large plant, 200,000 times 0.3 plus 100,000 times 0.5 minus 120,000 minus kasi negative yan times 20%. Ang result, EMV, 86,000. Okay? Same with the small plant, 90,000 times 0.3 plus 50,000 times 0.5 minus, kasi negative to, 20,000 times 0.2, 48,000. And no plant, 0. So, kung titignan natin dito, saan ang may pinakamataas na expected monetary value or EMV? Of course, the large plant. So, therefore, choose the large plant kasi siya yung may pinakamataas na EMV. Okay? Next, ito tayo. Expected opportunity loss or EOL. Kabaliktaran naman dito. Okay? So, kanina may regret values tayo. Kailangan natin mamaya yun. Kasi pababaan naman dito. Saan yung may pinakamababa kang regret na mai-incur? Just in case, pinili mo yung alternative na yun. So, how much regret do we expect based on probabilities? So, ito yung formula. EOL is equal to summation of probability of outcome times regret of outcome. Ganyan lang, kasimple ang formula. Okay, paano gawin? Okay, itong regret or opportunity loss values natin, ito yung kanina. Okay, balingat natin ha. So, ito yun. Paano i-compute ang regret values? O, tinuro ko yan kanina dito. Yung pinakamataas, ibabangga mo sa mga yan. Pinakamataas, ibabangga mo sa mga yan. Pinaka-best payoff, babangga mo sa mga yan bago makuha ang regret values. Okay? At yung regret values na yan, yun na yung kailangan natin dito. O, dito sa may EOL. Okay? So, ito na yung regret values. Ang regret values natin or opportunity loss, o, ganun lang din. For large plant, 0 times 0.3 plus 0 times 0.5 plus 120 times 0.2, 24,000. Okay? Si small plant, 110,000 times 0.3, 50,000 times 0.5, 20,000 times 0.2, 62,000. Okay? Sa no plant, 200,000 times 0.3 plus 100,000 times 0.5 plus 0 times 0.2, 110,000. Okay? So, since nasa nasa EOL tayo or expected opportunity loss, kung saan yung pinakamababa, yun ang pipiliin mo. So, therefore, choose the large plant, 24,000. Yan yung pinakamababang regret values. Okay? Next. Perfect information. Sa perfect information class, sabi dito, would tell us with the certainty which outcome is going to occur. Okay? Sa paggawa kasi ng decision, kailangan mo ng information or best information or perfect information. Pero paano ka maka-acquire ng perfect information? May kapalit na cost yan. Okay? Dapat mag-hire ka ng experts or specialists na kailangan makapagbigay sa iyo ng perfect information. Okay? Para makuha natin yung best outcome. Okay? Or yung optimistic result ng decision natin. Okay? So, second bullet point, having perfect information before making a decision would allow choosing the best payoff for the outcome. Okay, so mapipila natin yung best outcome just in case may perfect information tayo. Okay, next. expected value with perfect information. So, paano natin magawa yung expected value with perfect information? Sabi dito, the expected payoff of having perfect information before making a decision. Okay? So, the formula is EV with PI, meaning expected value with perfect information is equals to summation of probability of outcome times best payoff of outcome. Ganyan lang kasimple ang formula. Okay, so dito tayo. Yung expected value of perfect information of EVPI, the amount by which perfect information would increase our expected payoff. Kasi nga, maka-acquire tayo ng perfect information. Sabi pa dito, provides an upper bound on what to pay for additional information. Kasi nga, kapag mag-acquire ka ng perfect information, may cost na katapat yan. Yun yung ibabayad natin sa specialist. Okay? Or sa experts para makapagbibigay sa atin ng perfect information. Okay? So, therefore, the formula is EVPI is equals to EV with perfect information saka expected monetary value without perfect information. Okay? Next, example dito yung payoffs in blue would be chosen based on perfect information. Siyempre, kung may perfect information tayo, ma-determine na natin yung pinakamagandang decision sa bawat outcome or demand. So, for example, may perfect information tayo. Sa high, kapag high ang demand, large plant, 200,000. Okay? Sa moderate, 100,000. Kasi may perfect information tayo. Alam na natin kasi may naka-acquire tayo ng perfect information. So, 100,000 ang best payoff. Kapag low, dito tayo sa no plant, 0. Okay? So, ang gawin natin dyan, 200,000 times 0.3 plus 100,000 times 0.5 plus 0 times 0.2, 110,000 ang expected value with perfect information. Okay? Next, paano natin i-compute? So, ano yung 24,000? The perfect information increases the expected value by 24,000. So, ang ibig sabihin yan, itong 110,000 with perfect information minus 86,000. Saan nakuha ang 86,000? Balikan natin. Okay? So, ito yun, 86,000 expected monetary value without perfect information. Okay? So, kung may perfect information tayo naman, ang mako-compute natin, kasi alam na natin, ang maging pipiliin natin sa about outcome, 110,000. Minus mo yung expected monetary value without perfect information, therefore 24,000. So, ano ba yung 24,000? So, yan yung maximum amount na pwede nating kumbaga tolerable sa part natin na ibabayad sa experts or specialist para maka-acquire tayo ng perfect information. Okay? So, yung 24,000 na yan, maximum amount na tolerable sa atin para ibabayad natin as additional cost dun sa decision natin para maka-acquire tayo ng perfect information. Okay? Next, decision trees. Ano ba yung decision trees? Decision trees can be used instead of table to show alternatives, outcomes, and payoff. So, pwede natin gamitin ito instead of table para ma-interpret natin yung alternatives, outcomes, and payoff. So, next, may example tayo mamaya. Consists of nodes and arcs. Yung decision tree shows the order of decisions and outcomes. Okay? So, ito yung example ng decision tree. Ang decision tree natin, class, kung nakakita ka na ng fishbone analysis, parang ganun lang din. Parang chop-chop natin sa napakadaming, kumbaga ang isang decision is parang himayin mo. Okay? Parang fishbone analysis nga to, decision tree natin, itong sample ng decision tree natin na kung saan, dito tayo mag-start sa decision node. Okay? Then, ano yung mga alternative? Large plant, small plant, and no plant. Okay? Sa large plant, sa bawat isang alternative, may tatlong demand. Okay? May tatlong possible outcome. What if high demand? Ang payoff 200,000. What if moderate demand? Ang payoff 100,000. What if low demand? Ang payoff 120,000 or negative 120,000. Same with small plant. Okay? Sa bawat alternative, may iba-ibang possible outcome or payoff. Okay? So, ito yun. So, ganyan lang ang decision tree. Okay? Next. So, folding back a decision tree. For identifying the best decision in a tree, so yun na nga, ito. So, ipa-plot natin dito para mas madali natin makikita yung best payoff or best alternative na dapat natin pipiliin. So, ang gawin mo dyan, work from right to left. So, dito, titignan natin yung best payoff. Saan yung best payoff? Okay? So, for example, 200,000. Saan? Pag high demand. Okay? Pag high demand ng aling alternative? Pag large plant. O, ganun lang. Start ka dito, i-analyze mo pa ganun. From right to left. Okay? So, ganun ang gamit ng decision tree. Next, calculate the expected payoff at each outcome node. So, ito na yun. Makikita natin yung payoff sa bawat demand. So, ano yung magiging outcome ng bawat alternative na to. Okay? Next, choose the best alternative at each decision node or best on expected payoff. So, makikita natin ano yung best alternatives based sa payoff at what level of demand and anong best alternative. Okay? So, yun ang gamit ng decision tree. Next, ito na. Utility theory. Class ang utility theory, parang ano yan para kumbaga sinabi dito na alternative to EMV. Di ba nabanggit ko kanina, ang EMV kasi or expected monetary value, magdi-decide tayo dyan based sa monetary amount o level of monetary amount lang. Okay? So kung revenue sana yan, ulitin ko lang, kung saan pinakamataas yun yung piliin mo. Saan pinakamababa yun piliin mo. So in every decision, nagbe-base sa monetary value or sa amount. That is EMV. Okay? Ang utility theory, ito na nga is a measure of satisfaction derived from money. So, ang i-measure dito is hindi lang based sa amount, hindi lang tayo nagbe-base solely on the monetary value, kundi yung satisfaction mo. Okay, magkaiba kasi yun. Pwedeng may kaakibat na amount pero satisfied ka, pipiliin mo pa rin yun. Pwedeng konti lang yung involved na pera pero hindi ka satisfied, hindi mo pipiliin yun. So, magkabaliktad, yung principle ng EMV at utility theory. Okay? Next, people view risk and money differently. So, yan yun, So, yung binanggit ko kanina, possible na kahit mataas ang amount, kaya niyang i-acquire yan kasi nga ayaw niya ng risk. Maaring low risk doon. Pwede namang mababa yung involved na amount pero mataas ang risk. Ayaw niya din. So, magkaiba ang perception nila dito sa amount at saka sa risk. So, EMV is not always the best criterion. So, kaya nga kinonsider natin ang utility theory. Okay? Next, utility theory incorporates a person's attitude toward risk. So, ito yung kinoconsider kasi niya. Okay? And a utility function converts a person's attitude toward money and risk into number between 0 to 1. So, isa lang piliin mo dyan. Either, i-take mo yung malaking amount with low risk or high risk, mas mababang amount. So, magkaiba ang analysis niya dito or perception niya dito. Okay? Next, this is a measure of pleasure or satisfaction an individual would receive from an incremental increase in wealth. Okay? Ganito kasi yung class, Sa bawat tao, iba-iba kasi yung natin, materiality natin. For example, yung ordinaryong empleyado, ang income lang niya, for example lang 20,000 a month lang. Yung isa naman, multi-millionaire, maaaring nag-i-income siya per month ng 1 million. Okay? So ngayon, for example lang, in-offeran mo yung ordinaryong empleyado na bibigyan kita ng additional 100,000 na income kung gagawin mo to. Okay? Masaya na yun. Kasi nga, 20,000 ang income niya per month. Samantala, yung milyon ang income niya per month, sabihin mo sa kanya, nabigyan kita ng additional 100,000, gawin mo to, maaaring hindi pa yun masaya. Okay? Kasi immaterial sa kanya yun. So, magkaiba. Nakuha natin? So, this is a measure of pleasure or satisfaction an individual would receive from an incremental increase in wealth. So, maaaring magkaiba ang kanilang perception dun sa statement or sa amount na yun. Okay? Next. Ito. May illustration tayo. Ito yung best example sa utility theory. Consider an individual who purchases automobile insurance. The decision are to purchase and not to purchase. And the state of nature are an accident and no accident. So, ang decision is pwedeng mag-purchase pa siya o hindi. At yung state of nature is may accident at walang accident. Kasi automobile insurance ang usapan natin dito. Okay, so tignan natin Ito. Okay, hindi ko pa napalitan to 10,000 to class ito mamaya. Ang payoff table natin dito sa utility theory, ang decision is number 1 decision, purchase insurance. Okay? And number 2 decision, do not purchase insurance. Ang state of nature, may no accident saka may accident. Ang probability is 0.992 na walang accident. Ang probability na may accident is only 0.008. Okay? Pag may insurance or nag-purchase siya ng insurance, pag walang accident, 500 pa rin yung premium na babayaran. Pag may accident, wala siyang problema, is still 500 kasi may insurance company na magbabayad dun sa sasakyan niya. So same ang kanyang cost with or without accident. Pag walang insurance, zero dito. Kapag no accident, zero kasi hindi nga siya bumili ng insurance. Pag may accident, since walang insurance, sorry class, 10,000 dapat dito. So 10,000 ang gastos niya kasi babayaran niya yung sasakyan. Okay? Wala naman siyang insurance, walang sasagot dun sa sasakyan. So 10,000 ang ang possible cost niya pag may accident dun sa sasakyan niya. Okay? Next, the expected cost for each decision is, ito na, ang expected cost pag may insurance is yung 0.992 probability rate times 500 plus 0.008 probability rate pag may accident times 500. 500 ang cost niya. Okay? Ang expected cost naman kapag walang insurance, 0.992 times 0, no accident, plus 0.008 times 10,000 is equal to 80. In dollar yan kasi foreign authors yung gumawa sa book natin. Okay? So $80. Next, sino mas mababa? Yung walang insurance. Okay? Sa continuation, because the lower expected cost is 80, the decision should not to purchase insurance kasi mas mababa nga naman yung possible cost niya. So wag ka na lang mag-purchase ng insurance. Okay? However, people almost always purchase insurance even when they are not legally required to do so kasi nga dun sila nasasatisfy. Okay? So this is true of all types of insurance as accident, life, or fire. Dun kasi sila nasasatisfy. Kaya yun yung satisfaction nila. Kaya nagpo-purchase pa rin sila ng insurance kasi kahit mas mataas ang cost. Okay? Thus, although the concept of utility is realistic and often portrays actual decision-making criteria most accurately than those expected monetary value. Kaso nga lang, its application is difficult and as such somewhat limited. Mahirap i-apply kasi wala namang, hindi mo naman malagyan ng amount ang satisfaction ng bawat tao. Hindi mo din basta-basta ma-measure ang materiality nila. A matter of judgment yan. Okay? Okay class, that's all and thank you.